Introduce to you Honorable Karen Nyamu as we get to a conversation that will build upon the politics of Nairobi, the national politics, and politics of women or women in politics, but most importantly her own ambitions. We have had her before on set, but yes, with other women. I guess this is going to be a little bit different. It's an honor to have you, Karen. Thank you so much for creating time. How is baby? How are babies?
It's an honor to be here. Babies are good. I'm buying 2 different sizes of diapers now.
I can imagine. Oh my goodness, the hustle is real.
It's interesting.
You also are a strong one.
I love it. I love being a mom.
Right? Oh, that's good.
I love my children. I just love being a mom.
Okay, so this tumefungia hapo ama safari tutaanza tena. Now that we have all the genders represented, you never know. Well put. How is it balancing that with politics? And I mean, you're here up. When my producer told me that Karen will make it here, I was like, no, most probably not possible. But here she is looking all good and ready to.
Well, it's flowing.
Yeah.
I can say it's flowing. When she wakes up, I have to breastfeed. And we sleep when she sleeps. And I happen to have a very good nanny. I'm very lucky. I've left her with expressed milk, of course. And I'll be here for, I think, an hour and rush back home, check on her. Run other programs, get back home. You are
supposed to be out there politicking, seriously.
Yes.
How are you doing it?
It's a passion. When you have a passion or a calling, when you really want to do, when you're really passionate about something, it just flows.
Are there times that you have to carry her somewhere in the car? You're doing your politics and she's somewhere in the car?
I would never.
Why not?
The ground is crazy. It would really...
But we're getting to that heavy moment of politics. Yeah. The campaigns will officially be opened. And
I would never carry her. I mean, it's not a safe place to have, even my oldest child. I would never carry her in campaigns. It's crazy. And those scenes, sometimes it gets crazy and rowdy, and those scenes will...
we'll stick to her. And sometimes they question a lot. My little one, 7, understands politics. He tells me, Mr. Pigia so and so kura, I'll vote somebody else, and I'm thinking you don't even know what you're talking about because you don't even have. Does she sometimes does she sometimes question on that? Does she have some level of understanding on what is happening?
Yes, she has a level of understanding. Of course, she knows the president. She knows that for example, William Ruto is the next president. She thinks I'm already senator, for example. And the other day we were on the road. She was with the driver and she saw another billboard written Senate, and she had to make the driver call me. Mommy, are you not the senator for Nairobi? Who's
up here?
She saw my competitor's billboard, and we had to explain to.
The race is on.
Yeah.
And so why, somebody asked me, I mean, ask Karen, why did she not go for the woman representative seat, and she decided the senatorial bid? The woman representative seat would have been a sure deal for her.
I get that a lot, that it would have been very easy for me to get the woman rep. Last time I voted for woman rep, and then I got the opportunity to work in the county government. Yeah. And when I got that opportunity, you see the misses or what a senator should be doing to make sure some things are running or the oversight is done properly. So I just challenged myself that I can work with the governor or with the county government to ensure that, for example, the money that we get from the national government, which is 8 billion as it is right now, and we are clamoring for more, and we also get a lot of money from revenues, from the county government revenues we collect every day, but still people don't feel it in the ground. It's like there is no money. So I would like to be part of the leadership that ensures that Nairobians are getting a good deal. A good deal in form of development or in form of these monies that we're talking about.
Yes. And you think the senatorial bid would accord you the chance? Most of the times they speak of oversight, making sure that the governors are doing what is expected of them. So it's an oversight role hugely. So how are you going to push for this?
How you push for this is having a working relationship with the governor, and sometimes that does not work, so you have to bring it to the Senate. Sometimes you see governors getting someone to the Senate when something is not working. In this day and age, there's no reason why Nairobi hospitals should not have drugs. In this day and age, there's no reason why suppliers are not getting paid on time. That is causing a big problem even in the economy at the end of the day, because a lot of these suppliers get loans and never ever get paid. That is a big problem.
All right, you say that sometimes, well, it's never a rosy relationship between the governors maybe and the members of county assemblies, a majority of them, between the governors and the senators. Forget about politics, forget about, you know, probably focusing on ideology. If you were elected senator, the August 9th, 2022, out of all those ones that you see today, you know, trying to get to the gubernatorial position in Nairobi, whom would you opt to work with? Whom do you think would be the best bet for you to work with?
No, I think you're putting me in a very...
that's why I said let's overlook party politics in this case.
I would never... I don't have an answer for that because it's a competition. We are in a team. For example, in my team, Kenya Kwanza, we have 2 very strong candidates.
Yes.
And I mean, I wish them all the best. I would work with either of them very well. And I'll work with whoever wins.
Whoever wins. All right, I'll come back to that, but later. Have you resigned? We could be knowing this, but for purposes of the people who are watching.
Yes, I have resigned as a director for Nairobi Water to vie for this position.
Okay. All right, so far? So good?
So far, so good. Unless you, what do you think?
You tell me, what do you think? Okay, the party primaries.
What about the party primaries?
They're about the, you know, around the corner. Are you going to be amongst those few who will be negotiated to, and you'll say, let me shell for this strong candidate, or we're expecting that you would go for it to the last bit?
So far in my party, we haven't had that discussion for my position. We have had whispers on negotiations for the gubernatorial position. But for my position, we haven't had that conversation. So I'm getting ready for the nominations. It is for the party's best interest that we go for nominations. It is the party's best in the party's best interest that even the gubernatorial candidates will go for nominations.
Lots of questions as to primaries, nominations, and all that. Where you sit right now, you have the confidence that the party will accord you a free and fair process, that if you lose at the nomination level, it will be fair and square, or vice versa?
I've been through this process before. When I was in Jubilee, when I was vying for woman rep, and our party leader, which is my party's UDA, our party leader then was a deputy party leader for Jubilee, and he was very involved in the party primaries to ensure that they are fair. I expect him to do the same this time. He has given his commitment every time and again. Every time he gets an opportunity, he gives us his commitment and the party's commitment. He has reiterated this over and again, that he's going to ensure that there's a level playing field and we're getting the right candidates, the winner. The latest talk of the town, briefly, Martha Karua, more women in politics. She's been in politics, in the space of politics today. She inspires many to get into politics today. Her great political move, you know, recently this week. What do you make of it? I want to say this first. Martha Karua has been a big inspiration in my life, and she has shaped a lot of my decisions, even my career choice. Being a lawyer, when I was growing up, I really admired her. But at some point, I think Martha lost it. And I think at the point where she resigned from Mwai Kibaki's government as Minister for Justice, from then on, every other decision she has made, every other move she has made,
has been a wrong move? Has
been a wrong move.
Oh, yeah?
The latest one is a very wrong move.
Why do you argue that it's a wrong move?
Because you cannot take a river to, of course, you know, the river is flowing this way. In Mount Kenya, we are united under William Ruto, under UDA.
Are you?
Yes, we are.
101%?
You know that.
Well, I don't know that. That's what I'm questioning. Based on facts and figures?
Yeah, based on facts and figures.
And you think the Right Honourable Raila Odinga has not climbed the mountain? Or the mountain has not met the lake? It's
been difficult. They have tried. They have tried with the optics. They have tried with the perception. But it is not working. And the people and the leaders, some leaders who stayed in Jubilee hoping it works, we have seen them troop to UDA recently.
We've also have seen some trooping from UDA to the other side.
From the mountain?
From the mountain, yes, I think. And I'd want to ask this. Looking at the mountain in terms of the numbers, yeah? What do you think you can garner out of the 6 million? The mountain has about 6 million thereabout that is guaranteed. So how much do you think?
We're talking about over
70%. Over 70% of that. And that's a plus for the DP, you think?
Yes,
And that
definitely.
is,
And it's, we're saying 70 because Jubilee is working very hard on the ground to make sure that they get candidates for the sole purpose of dividing our votes, not for any other purpose. And I ask myself, why would you vote in a Jubilee candidate? Sorry.
That's all right.
Why would you vote in a Jubilee candidate? This is a party whose first of all, mandate is ending this year, and you're giving the outgoing president generals for what? So I would ask, if you don't have any other candidate to
So
vote
you
for,
think the outgoing president is not a force to reckon with at this
he should
phase
not
of
be,
politics?
he should not be a factor.
But he is.
Yeah,
Do you
he
think
is,
he
but
is?
Kenyans should be smarter to make sure he's not a factor at all. Let us deal
Why
with
not?
William Ruto.
Why would you render him useless?
Because
looking at
the law is
contribution?
very clear, the constitution is very clear, that when you're done with your 2 terms, you stay clear and
He's Kenyan before he's president.
But he's very much president. We cannot ignore the fact.
Yeah.
And when the law does not talk about him as Kenyan, the law talks about him as president or ex-president. Yeah,
Right.
So we cannot ignore that fact.
You know, I am still trying to get my record straight on those ones that have defected to this side of Azimio. In a bit, we take a short break and then I think we come back.
I'll give you
A list of those ones that have moved to
take your time because
to this other side. Yes, Karen Nyamu is here with us, senatorial aspirant of Nairobi, as we just get to understand a bit on how she has managed to keep herself all set for the senatorial position in Nairobi. It is heated, that we must agree, and therefore we are all here as electorates to watch and see and equally make a decision that will determine what next for us in terms of leadership, in terms of development. Like she rightfully puts it, her interest is to see the people of Nairobi getting what it is that is a good deal. So after this break, we come back with that.
TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Is it as late or as early or as when as Sunday? This Sunday, because I reported about this on Monday, 50 Kirinyaga UDO officials decamp to Jubilee. They say it's actually going back home to them, welcomed by Kibicho, as well as, you know, the former, is it the senator? Yes, Daniel Karaba and all that. So, and I mean, you might look at them as, you know, just officials, but these are numbers that, and 50 is not a small number, that you have to agree. And you can imagine they carry along their families, those ones that, you know, subscribe to their ideologies, and it is going to happen, maybe some more.
I've told you that we are we are counting on 70% for UDA because of these machinations that Jubilee is doing on the ground. The names you've just mentioned, Kipicho and the rest. They're on the ground. As you speak, they're in Nyeri, I know, because I spoke to, one of them is a personal friend. He's in Nyeri trying to do recruitment from UDA.
But such is politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the loser is the decamper, especially when you're a candidate.
That you're leaving the winning team.
Yeah. You might get short-term gratification, you might get some money, but you're the long-term loser.
Why do you speak of money? Do you think people are being bribed?
Because I have friends even in Nairobi who've switched from supporting UDA to being funded to vie for MCA positions and all these things.
Has someone ever approached you with money and told you, Karen, come back home?
Not directly with money, but calls have been made. I've been told you can get assured of a ticket. They
were not worth convincing you?
No.
Why not?
Because there's a reason why I support UDA. It is because of their ideology of UDA party.
What is this ideology that gets very many people confused? The bottom-up approach?
Yes, and the hustler narrative.
What is this hustler narrative, Karen?
The hustler narrative is that finally there is a coalition that is seeking to form government, that seeks to represent, that seeks to put the forgotten man at the bottom with the pyramid, the economic pyramid.
While supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto then, this was not felt. You did not acknowledge that it was necessary that the kawaida person was felt.
Well, you see,
what is different now?
You see, this is William Ruto's presidential bid. Okay. That was President Uhuru's presidential bid, and he chose to go with the status quo, which is trickle down, which is happening a lot. But a lot of economies the world over are embracing the bottom-up economic model.
Just what exactly is this bottom-up economic model?
It simply means that you empower more people at the bottom. How? So that you fund them, you pump money at the bottom.
From where?
You invest. From the government, the money that we're spending.
So it's trickle down?
It's not trickle down because you pump money at the bottom.
From where?
From the government. It's from the exchequer.
From the exchequer government.
But trickle down empowers a few multinationals, not the government.
Okay.
The money is not from the government. You empower a few multinationals, hoping they employ a lot of Kenyans. You bring in foreign investors, hoping they employ Kenyans and they pay taxes, and then the taxes trickle down. But in this case, you're pumping money at the bottom, empowering many people, creating a lot more taxpayers, so that way the country earns more from the bottom.
They say,
and Kibaki tried it, by the way.
Yeah.
At some point, he pumped like 50
during the Nusum Kate government.
Yeah, he pumped
and
50
so why
billion
don't you trust
only.
BAMBA to do it?
He doesn't even understand it. Have you
seen his part of Kibaki?
Have you seen his remarks on bottom up?
Yes.
He's a big critic of bottom up,
yes.
So we don't expect that from him. He doesn't seem to understand because he has said, what is this bottom up?
And Karen, you've been here long enough to know that even our very own budget we cannot sustain. So what magic will be done in about 100 days or 90 days into
money.
UDA? There is money?
There is money. The money that goes elsewhere is going to be diverted to go to the bottom.
So elsewhere in form of corruption, or elsewhere as in?
Instead of spending money to attract foreign investors, for example, or grow big multinationals, that money will be diverted to the bottom and ensure that a lot more Kenyans are paying taxes. So
will this be like a battle officially of real, or better yet, a battle to root out the investors?
No.
How do we balance that without having to lose the investors who equally contribute hugely?
We are not losing the investors. They are going to be there, but they have the power, they have the might to sustain themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to get the people down there also getting a chance.
You don't seem to be a believer.
I'm trying to believe. This is for the sake of the people who are
I cannot say that.
are watching. And Karen, now that you speak of that, you probably have tried setting up a business in the country.
Yes.
I'd want to believe so. And you also understand the difficulties that come with
yes.
that. So how then is this going to be streamlined as well, so that you make sure that if this money goes to these people down there, then as well setting up these businesses will not be a problem, and not just setting up them, but as well running them successfully? Because I would want to assume that this money would be going down in form of loans, and therefore one would be expected to service that loan.
Yeah.
You do not service the loan if your business is not doing well. So how best is that going to be streamlined?
Well, David Ndi and the rest of his economic team
doing
are
the
on
magic.
it.
Okay.
They are on it. it is working elsewhere in the world. Let's not be pessimists.
Where is this that we are talking about? There are people who have said it has not worked in different parts of the world. Those ones that you say are critics.
It is being proposed in America. It has been introduced. Let us see how that goes. And let's not be pessimists. Because I believe leadership, you have to do something unprecedented. You have to take bold decisions. You have to change route when things are not working. You have to make decisions that would be criticized, are not the norm, but are good for the country. Because I don't believe in leadership for the sake of leadership. If you listen to William Ruto's messaging, it is one constant messaging. In Coast, in Wajir, in Nairobi, everywhere.
The others are changing tone?
Yeah, there's even people, there are even songs about it. We're even making fans about it. Tunataka tuanzie juu, alafu bottom.
Tukuje hapa.
Alafu tukuje hapa katikati.
I don't want to sing to the song.
Yeah.
I don't want to sing. I don't want to sing along lest I am labeled.
Yeah. So, I mean, the messaging is constant. But our opponents on the other side, today, last year they were talking about the stipend, the 6,000 stipend.
They still are talking about that.
When is the last time you heard about it?
They are.
The first time it was for youth. Then it became for a single household, 6,000 per household. Now that story is dead. Then there is BAMBA care. You hear once in a while. I mean, I don't trust. If you're not convinced yourself what you're going to do for Kenyans, I don't tend to believe you.
All right. Well, I'll let that pass as we await for the Ndis to work out something so that we can all get to understand the whole thing. Like we say, let's allow you the chance to craft it proper so that you can sell it to the people. And I know that the campaign lines are not open. We're talking about Martha Karua, and you said that Martha Karua, well, that was kind of political suicide, not Samia Suluhu in the making?
I don't understand her move. Well, I don't even see the value she adds to Baba.
You know, there's a point where the UDA side, the Kenya Kwanza, was salivating for Martha Karua, that you know.
Not really.
Would it have been different today if
Not
she
really.
shifted gears?
Not really,
to this
because
side?
I was engaged in conversations when we asked ourselves what value is she adding. Martha Karua is she's a very principled lady and can come across as stubborn. And I wouldn't imagine her working with our deputy president, who is our party leader, as the deputy president, because he's an easy person. I think she would really
be tough on him.
Angemsumbua sana.
Oh. Atasumbua Baba in case atakuwa deputy? Or Baba should think and rethink?
No, they have their chemistry. I think vile angesumbua William, sio vile atasumbua Baba.
That's interesting. This is a woman speaking about a woman. They say
no,
we
I'm speaking facts.
They're facts. I agree. Oh,
for the
that's
sake
good.
of
Fair enough. Now let's talk about that. You not being a feminist and women supporting fellow women and all that. Is it time that
I'm not a feminist for the sake of feminism.
Yeah. So let's say this. As we talk of more women in politics and everything, is it time that we outgrow this conversation of all women are supposed to be supporting their very own, that it's bad that women are their very same enemies and all that?
No, I'm for quality. Let's get quality. Let's not support a woman just because you're a woman. There's a lot of mediocrity with that.
Have you not gone to some place to speak to women and told them, Mama, kina mama, you are women like me. You understand? You have. So what is that?
And that is because when women are given a chance at leadership, I mean, the results have been seen that they're good. But it's not the narrative that just waving the woman card for the sake of just because you're a woman.
How good would you rate the performance of women representatives now that we say that sometimes you put women there and they're outstanding?
I would say 90% have performed. Well, there are some that the money goes back at the end of the year. The 100 million allocated to them goes back to Exchequer, which is embarrassing. But a lot of them have tried with the meager means that the government allocates, the National GAF, Affirmative Action Fund. A lot of them have actually tried, and it's an affirmative action position. It's a new position. It expires in 10 years, by the way. I don't know if you're aware. So let's give them some credit. Let's give them room. it is one of the ways of bridging the numbers of women that we have in Parliament, according to Article 27 of the Constitution, that provides for ways to ensure the two-third gender rule is implemented. So let's support it, and so far so good.
The Ruto government, if there would be, are promising that they would focus much on making the best of the two-third gender rule. That has been promised to you?
He has been a big supporter. I think you have seen he has been a big supporter of implementation of the two-third gender rule. We expect him to implement it finally, because Kenya is the only country that doesn't have a program to implement the two-third gender rule. Yet we are the biggest GDP in our region. Currently, we have 20% women in Parliament, compared to Rwanda that has 58%.
Yeah.
Tanzania has 36%. I think Burundi and Uganda have 35%.
Well. South Africa has done so well as well.
Yeah, we are not doing very well. We need to implement a program to ensure that, because women form more than 50% of the population, it is untenable to have more than half of the population not participating in meaningful leadership. Yet they represent over 50% of the population. We cannot go far economically, socially, with such statistics.
All right, before we delve deep into your bid and your plans, let's briefly touch on the demonstrations that we saw yesterday, that in support or in defense of the former First Lady, Mama Ngina Kenyatta, as well as this one that has trended. I remember reading news on this one, and I can tell you it has made rounds. And they speak of Mama Rachel Ruto, the politician. You know, we have probably not seen her coming out to speak politics, but for the very first time she's here. Well, not forgetting the current First Lady, who as well in her own capacity has been making rounds and doing what it is that she can do for the benefit of the nation. What do you make of these ladies, and what do we need to pick from them? And what direction should we take politically to avoid a scenario where then we'll have altercation with them? And how far are they supposed to go in terms of, as well, speaking on behalf of their men that will not be overstepping their mandates?
You asked about the women who are demonstrating yesterday.
No, those ones that are demonstrating. These key figures, we're talking about Mama Rachel Ruto, Mama Ngina, we're talking about, Margaret Kenyatta as well. Well,
these are very influential women in the country, and they have their political stands. I mean, let's have them voice them, and let's have them giving us reasons why. I was very impressed by Mama Rachel. I was watching her, I think, this morning as I waited for water to the heater. And I was very impressed. I mean, she has learned being the wife of Deputy President, and I think she makes a very good leader. I know you think it sounds biased. Mama Ngina is also in her own right. She's like a mother figure for us. She's like a matriarch for the country. It is unfortunate that some bad words were...
Troy, though, apologizes so we can say, well and good.
Yeah. But, I mean, they have their space in society. They have their space in this realm of leadership. They have huge influence. So, I mean, it's in order. I don't have any criticism or anything to object their involvement. By all means, they can be involved.
A patriarchal society, they say ours is, or at least has been for the longest of time. We're trying to get out of that phase. I have heard women that are in UDA, while they are staunch supporters, they have some level of displeasure on how they are sometimes handled. While they could say that, yes, the DP is focused on making sure that he brings out the best of women, there are instances, in local offices, and politics is local, they are suppressed. Do you suppose that we're going to come out of this phase, and that you as Karen, being a woman and taking up a challenge, having that boldness, then you're going to get the support that you require from the party and say, at the level of the nation?
We are slowly making steps. We are slowly getting out of there, although it is very slow. But so far, so good. I mean, that is the purpose for affirmative action, because we have suffered as women.
Are you a believer in affirmative action?
Yes.
There's some who say, hey, let's have a fair ground. I would have expected for you to say that.
I'm a believer of affirmative action, because if it was not for affirmative action, as much as I am vying for a seat where I'm competing with men and not women, affirmative action has played a big role for me to have that capacity to even be able to contest with men. So I'm a strong believer in affirmative action. Let's support it, like I said, and slowly by slowly, men and even other women will get to see practically what women offer, and when they get opportunity, how they use it, and more people will embrace women leadership. I think it is something that we need to take advantage of, women leadership. It is, I mean, Kenya has come of age, and we must push for women leaders to be elected. What
is probably, or what would you think would be the role of political parties in making sure that they are promoting this bid of women in politics?
Our political parties must provide a level playing field for women. They must protect women where they're vying against men. They must ensure that there's no harassment on the gender card. They must ensure that the women are not disadvantaged by virtue of just the fact of being a woman. And also in the nomination lists that are given to the IBC for nominated legislators, they must ensure that it is the right list. It's people who deserving, not picking people from maybe friendships and that kind of thing that we have seen.
And that's, we have been labeled, we have been accused of, and most of the times we've been called flower girls. It breaks my heart to say this, but it is said left, right and center. Probably this has informed the laxity of us attaining the two-third gender rule even at the level of parliament, much as its constitutional requirement. What will it take for us to get this? Have we also stooped so low to a point that, when we are labeled, we really have no way of trying to wash that away, that it's justifiable?
That's why I'm saying, if you're to nominate a woman, let it be a woman who has fought for this, so that we avoid issues or the scenario of women being called
What if they've
girls.
not fought for it, but they're up to par? They go out there and they turn out to be perfect. Mama Samia Suluhu will tell you that when she was being picked, she was almost saying no, because
when she was being picked for deputy.
Yes, for deputy position. She was like me, right, and everything. But fine,
But she had been in leadership.
Yes, she had been in leadership. So what if you say this is a random pick, but then she turns out to be a good deal?
Well, depending on the resume, because also there's direction. You just don't nominate. There's provision for who the people you're nominating represent. They either represent, there's farmers, there's all these categories of people. So if the resume fits, why not?
Let's take a moment and appreciate some of these women that have done us proud. And we're celebrating the life of Albright Medeline, who also has been very instrumental in the global fraternity. That has been captured, yes, on The Nation. And many have come out to appreciate her contribution. The first Secretary of State woman that is in the United States. Her contribution globally has been witnessed. So in that particular moment, we also appreciate that. As we say, may her soul rest in eternal peace. Lost her life at the age of 84. More updates on that to be coming your way. So, Karen, here we are. And I wanted to ask you, and I've asked this, but I want a more comprehensive report on this one. Nairobi senatorial bid. How is it for you, the traversing so far? I know the campaign lines are not so open, but what gives you the confidence that, you would not get to a point where you'll be coerced, or maybe you're going to be negotiated to, and you'll be told, Karen, shelve your interest for a moment, and let's have this person who appears to be more formidable?
Where are you getting that from?
I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying in the event that this is coming.
In
the event that this is coming, I need to see that you exhibit confidence in the fact that you will be there and you're going to go it. And that's why I said, let's get it a little bit comprehensive.
Well, I'm out there. I'm investing in my campaigns. As I told you, my party leader and my party secretary general has assured us aspirants that we are going to have nominations. They're going to be free and fair. So I have no reason to doubt that I'm going for nominations. And even if I'm called to a negotiating table to, for example, to talk about my position or trade in for another one, I mean, it has to be something that I think is, I mean, I don't feel shortchanged.
Let's overlook the party level. Let's talk about the ground. Now that everyone says this is what the ground says, do you think the ground speaks of Karen?
I cannot say that, but I'm not new to the ground. I went round in 2017. All these people are familiar. This time round, a lot more people know me. Before, I was looking for them. Now, they're looking for me. They want me to go to the ground. I'm overwhelmed by how many groups I need to meet. Next week, we're doing a rigorous campaign, 3 weeks rigorous campaign. And we're coming up with a program this week. So the ground is receptive to me as Karen, to me as a woman, and to my competitors as well.
And the ground has been treated to the two sides of Karen. The other side will not in any way, affect your political bid. And I mean, do you think it has, positively or negatively?
You see, some people came to know me when I had personal life drama, but they have come to know who I really am later, because that was ugly, or I was driven by maybe emotion. We all get there, but they have come to see another side of me, of the woman I am and the leader that I am.
And that the ghost of the past will not haunt you in any way?
It is not haunting me. And I mean, when you're there campaigning and when you're talking to your people, those things don't even come up. It's neither here nor there. Those things are just talked by you people on social media, but on the ground, those things they're not a factor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And if they are, it's because they identify with you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how far until we are able to make the best of affirmative action? Because there have been fears that this is dying a natural death. And so by the time it is dead, if at all it is going to die, will we have made the best of it in trying to position the women?
It's seemingly dying a natural death because we have taken no steps to implement it as provided for in the Constitution. Because the Constitution is clear that the state must take steps to ensure that appointments in the National Assembly, both houses, don't have a single gender that exceeds 2/3. But so far, there's been horse trading. The judiciary gave a ruling some years back saying that the Parliament should implement, and J.B. Muturi, the Speaker, wrote a lengthy opinion saying that the state, which I think he meant the executive or the judiciary, should come up with ways of implementing. So there's horse trading, there's unwillingness even by the members of Parliament themselves, including the women. I have not seen any serious clamoring. I have not seen any serious pushing for this 2/3 gender rule. It is very unfortunate because I don't think we see the bigger picture and the gains the country has to make when we have women representing their people. And the representation of women in this country is untenable. Something must be done. And I believe our party leader, I hope he gets an opportunity to be president of this country. I believe in his commitment in women empowerment. I mean, he has demonstrated it many times before. He empowers the young, he empowers women. So I am putting my cards on William Ruto, at least doing something about that provision, Article 27.
But the Giritas of today, the Terrys of today, those ones that have attempted to, present their interest of going for the top seat in the country. With the Karens of today, do you look forward to see a woman president in the country?
Oh yes, definitely. Like you can see in Tanzania.
Do you foresee that?
I foresee not in the very near future. But let's start with the deputy president. I hope at least
if there's going to be a deputy in Ruto's side, who do you suppose that would be?
Waiguru.
Waiguru?
If I was to pick, I would pick Waiguru.
I had someone here and was trying to ask us yesterday, can you even fathom a Waiguru-Ruto presidency?
Because, because of propaganda, because they're called...
Is it propaganda, really?
It is, because, I mean, the law, we have the law. Why have they been...
apprehended?
Yeah.
Okay, they're working scot-free, so it's got nothing to do with what it is that people say. So you would look at Waiguru?
Yeah, because
that just came into the party the other day and found
she is a performer. Yeah. She is a strong woman. She is known from Treasury. She was a hard worker and a real performer in Treasury. People who have worked
Devolution. And then Kirinyaga, she did well?
Yeah, she has done well, despite the noise she has.
So she would be a good counter if Baba were to go for Karua?
Well, yes, I guess.
All right, Sawa. Let's come to a close by just discussing then Nairobi politics, your very own bid. Speak to your people. What is this that you're doing different to make sure that, you know, the interests of the women are out there, the capacity of women as well, that all this is being addressed in the way that it should be addressed?
In my manifesto, I'm very pro-youth, very pro-women. Just a glimpse. Currently, Nairobi is charging one license, a single license for businesses at 10,000 shillings. And I think people do not understand. People are out of touch with the ground. They don't know how much 10,000, how by a lot of money 10,000 is to the ordinary Nairobian, because the highest population of Nairobians lives in the slum, and they're living below $1 a day. So if you're to empower this person, if this person is to do business and afford a license, 10,000 shillings for a youth, for a mother, for a single mother is a lot of money. So I will be ensuring that we have affirmative action executed in the licensing of businesses in Nairobi. I will also be making sure that there's a bill Kangata, the senator from Murang'a, had introduced to ensure that the MCAs are managing their own ward development funds, as opposed to the ward development fund being under the government, because it has really been politicized. But when it went to the National Assembly, it died there. So I will be trying to revive that to ensure that MCAs are in control of the ward development fund, just like MPs control their CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, and many other proposals that we have come up with as a team for the sake of Nairobians. And I want to tell Nairobians that this time we are not, the demographics and the demographics for voting have changed. We are not voting under tribal lines, because now we are all Nairobians. Most Nairobians are under one tribe called the hustlers, and that is people, the business people, the people who work hard to make sure that their families are being fed at the end of the day. So let us be very wise. Let us shun the tribal lines voting. Let us unite under the tribe called the hustler, which we all identify with, a Kikuyu hustler and a Luo hustler and a Luya hustler and a Kamba hustler. Let us unite under the party that looks after our interests, together with our children and our children's future. Let us shun tribal voting lines in Nairobi.
Household name as well